what I gather, watching the news, seeing instead of just the sheep following what to say because somebody else said it, and they just 50 people say the same thing right in a row. You got to listen to some people that's actually, because I didn't really think of the Capitol storm. It's who would think of that? Had they not broken anything, it would have been better. Had nobody got killed, it would have been better. And you got to realize that Trump, he didn't start those words. What he said did not incite a riot. Yeah, I mean, it's not like he said those words and then pipe bombs appeared in these people's clothes. These people they had already made plans on what they was going to do, and saying that Trump said anything, because those words, as far as I know, he was going to march with. He didn't march with them, so they was on their own. Because he said he goes, let's march down to the Capitol together, or whatever it is he said. It wasn't anything volatile. It's not insurrection. I mean, I'll tell you what the insurrection is. 4 years of these Democrats, everything they've said about this is to take over is a hostile takeover of this country. And now they finally got it. And they want to impeach the guy. They want to impeach the guy that should be impeaching all of them. They should all be impeached. All these people that are trying to impeach Trump should be impeached. Because I don't care what these other countries say. They're saying insurrection. Look up the word insurrection. He didn't have anything to do with it. He wasn't in charge. There was no hostile. He wasn't in a hostile takeover. Those words didn't incite it. They was already incited by themselves because of what the Democrats have done for the last 4 years, and the attitude they take in everything they do. They think they're not punishable. That's what the Second Amendment is. That's going to be their punishment. I mean, that's got to be what the Second Amendment. They made the Second Amendment for. Because they gave them free reign. You think about it, they gave they gave politicians free reign when they wrote up this Constitution. They didn't make any laws against the legislature making laws. They said, well, they should. We just came out of a Revolutionary War. We're all hyped up. We got a Constitution. We're starting a country, and they probably wasn't thinking, oh, they're gonna. They did think further on down the road when they added the amendment, the Second Amendment, and said, well, we better put the Second Amendment in there. But they didn't put anything in there about term limits, laws. Of course, they probably didn't think that people were going to try to live 50 years on everybody's taxes. I mean, I don't even know what the taxes were when they started the country. I mean, all the taxes have been built up. It's just a slow insurrection. And apparently it's from the Democrats, because they're saying, how's one man take over an entire Republican Party? As soon as 7 days, as soon as his term's up, you're going to see that everything drop. He'll go back to being a civilian, ex-president, but I mean a civilian. I don't know if it was ex-president, because they call everybody, even ex-presidents, they call him president. They don't call him ex-president. So the real insurrection comes from all the Democrats, the leftists in the legislature that are trying to push these the 4 years. This 4 years of trying to take over this government so they could put their own people in. Because if they would have got rid of Trump, they would have got rid of Pence. And if they would have got rid of Pence, I don't know if Pelosi would have stepped in there or not. She was like healing the power of the freaking House. I don't know if she would have stepped in there to take that over or not. But anyway, those pipe bombs or whatever they were, the EIDs or whatever they were that they had pre-built, pre-assembled, whatever they were, that was way before Trump was speaking. And that was all because of the Democrats for the 4 years and for for everything they've been trying to do to keep this country from moving forward just because they didn't win the election. That's an insurrection. Those people should be. And it's not. I don't understand why there is no justice in this country. The only people feeling justice every day is the citizens. That we're the only ones that deal. I'm saying the hell with laws. The only justice that the criminal's going to get is if they turn themselves into a police, or if the police arrest them. Because if crime, if I have to deal with criminal activity, I'm going to deal with it whatever way that happens at the time. I'm not going to. The criminal is, that's how it should be. It's not a lynching. It's not a mob. I'm dealing with it at the moment. He should have. Whatever the crime they're doing, they should have done it to a cop, and the cop would have arrested them. But this is ridiculous of what this country's had to, and these other countries are stepping up, and all these it's like this. There's everybody's just saying, since they doxed the left doxed all these people, all these big giant corporations are scared to take a stand on their own because they're afraid that any step they do, that I don't know how this country's doing it, but they're volunteering to step down, or people, too many people talk against them to step down. This is ridiculous. This country looks like a big giant chicken shit. It does, with the Democrats just thinking we'll just push everybody around, and we'll push any button we push is the right button, and the whole world's looking at this. This is a unconstitutional insurrection by the part of the Democrats and any of the Republicans that have sided with the Democrats to this left-leaning or this socialist. I don't know what it is. It's just an agenda. It's like a elitist brat entitled. That's what it is, an elitist entitlement agenda. A bunch of rich brats. I don't care if they came from poor. Once they get rich, they get that power in their belt and they get money in the bank, and they don't have to worry about retiring because they got so much freaking money. They become these elitist brats where they think every word out of their mouth should just be hated. And so that's what's becoming. It's the insurrection isn't Trump. It's these freaking elitist left and Democrats and these Republicans that have flipped sides, and they think that there's some sort of morality to it, to flipping sides, because there's so many people and they dox you, and they probably got all these people that are flipping sides. You might want to check them out, see if they're dirty politicians. I mean, if they're Republicans flipping sides, jumping to the left, then they're probably dirty politicians, and the Democrats got something on them. I don't know, drugs, maybe deals that they've made with somebody or something like that. Who knows? But this is ridiculous that this country has turned into what it is. I wish that they, marching down the Capitol, I wouldn't see a problem with that, and then but these people that they're in charge, they're not leaders. They're like children. They're like elitist, privileged brat children that they jerk away from everything, and they just make up what should be done. They run away from it, and then they go to their little tea parties, and they make up something, and the freaking rabid rabbit jumps out of the hat. I don't know what the heck they're getting the ideas from, but these people they're freaking deranged, and they're the ones that are the problem. That's what I think. I don't think Trump had any. Why would he want that on him? As looking down, having a demonstration like that where they just demolish stuff. I mean, I've never heard of him being, he pulled out of war and everything else. All he's doing is trying to get rid of these people that are messing everything up, and you can see it. But they're so heavy, and they've been doing this for 4 years, that people believe this is the right way to do it, because every time they start doing it, they win this stuff, because everybody jumps to their side because they're afraid of some sort of punishment for it. They have no punishment against them. They're elitist brats, and they're not even good elitists. They're not even that rich. I mean, there's some super rich people, but they ain't them. I mean, they're rich. They're richer than the middle class by far, but they're not super elitist. They're just elitists above. You know, I don't even know what it'd be called. They're rich. I don't even know if they'd be called rich, because I'm pretty sure but what'll never happen. They have no punishment. We have no term limits. We have no and yeah, there's so much stuff that's wrong with this government. You know, and it needs fixed. And they're not going to do it because the government's not going to punish themselves. They think, well, we should have the right to. They don't have any rights. They do. They got the right. They do have a couple of rights, but they sure as hell ain't letting the citizens have their rights. And that's another thing. We shouldn't have to fight for our rights. Those have already been fought for. I mean, if your grandfather pays for a house and he hands it down to your father, and your father hands it down to you, and they're not, you're not supposed to pay for it. Your father's not supposed to pay for the house. Go to the bank, get a loan, pay for that. Well, he gave it to me. Well, you got to pay for it. That's what they're doing with the rights. They're saying, well, you got to pay for those rights. No, those are just those are natural rights. That's what you're supposed to have. That's what nature is like. It's just in writing in government, and they let lawyers. That's another thing. Why are we letting lawyers write laws? Oh, well, that's because the laws should be written. No, they got this stuff. They got it so convoluted that they think that there can be a takeover of words, and they don't want it. They want you to go up there and recite the ... 1AC FL, whatever stupid little letterings they got for each. It's just, they've convoluted this government to the point where nobody understands anything. There's so many ties in and out, and whenever they talk, what they're saying should be punishment to themselves. That should be, they're saying whatever they point the finger at is usually meant for them. That's what I've been seeing. So